Let's talk turkey, Carmela. And by that, I mean Thanksgiving.
Ooh, turkey talk, huh?
Okay, yeah. Are you a turkey person or a stuffing person?
Stuffing.
Okay, cranberries or gravy?
Gravy.
All right, white meat or dark meat?
Dark.
What about wine on Turkey Day?
Ooh, sparkling all day and all night.
Well, today we're going to talk about why we are bonkers for Beaujolais.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of a reasonably priced turkey wine. And this is my turkey wife and my wine pairing partner in turkey crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
You're supposed to say,
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
There we go. And we are the Wine Pair. Okay, a quick orientation for those of you who may be new to the podcast. In each episode, we learn about and taste and give our completely honest review of 3 wines that are reasonably priced, which means under $20, and should be easy for you to find. And our podcast, Carmela, is made for people who want to talk turkey and learn more about wine. They want to find new wines to enjoy and just want someone, please, to talk about wine in a fun way that regular people can understand.
Okay, you turkey.
Yeah, and if that sounds like you turkey, you're in the right place.
Okay, and let's not forget, your mom used to call you turkey.
She did.
So let's, make sure we, bring that up.
Again, yes, and we are proud to say that we are recommended by the editors of Decanter Magazine, who call us fun, irreverent,
chatty,
gobble, and entertaining. I was trying to line that one up for you, too. Okay, well, Carmela, it is upon us again, the wonderful holiday of Thanksgiving, which just happens to be our youngest son's favorite holiday.
I know.
For whatever reason. I don't know why.
He's born just days.
True.
He never has a birthday on Thanksgiving, but close.
True.
Always right before.
And when we talk about Thanksgiving coming up, we're talking about Thanksgiving in the United States. So apologies to our friends in Canada who had their Thanksgiving more than a month ago on October 9th.
Yes.
I guess they just want to say thanks a little earlier.
Do they have the same meal?
We are going to talk about that in uno minuti. Okay, minuto. I don't know. Today we are going to focus first though on wines that go with Thanksgiving dinner, but that could be a bit confusing if you are, Carmela, talking about the Canadian version of Thanksgiving or the American version of Thanksgiving.
Or if you drink all day on Thanksgiving. Some people, have a very early dinner at like 2 or at noon or 3.
Why wouldn't you have wine with it?
That's what I'm saying. So then you would be drinking all day, which
That's
is
okay. What's
I
wrong
don't
with
mind
that?
it. We used to have 2 Thanksgivings for years. And
just for you out there in listening land, this is just information for you that you don't really need to know, but we're happy to share it with you.
We're just revisiting it, okay? Just a little reminiscing here.
Okay.
Don't mind us.
Just to be clear, in this episode, we are going to talk about Turkey Day in the United States, but first, you may ask, Carmela, why does Canada have a Thanksgiving more than a month earlier than the U.S.?
Well, I wasn't going to ask that, but if you'd like me to ask
Not yet. Actually, what I want you to ask first is, who had the first Thanksgiving?
Well, I wanted to give you your Thanksgiving quiz because you gave me the quiz, but that's not what we're doing.
Well, now give me the quiz.
Okay. Turkey or stuffing?
No, the quiz. Who had the first Thanksgiving?
Okay, who had the first Thanksgiving?
Well, Carmela, here's the real poop. This is why you're asking me the story. Here's the real poop.
No.
If you believe the stories, the first Thanksgiving was actually celebrated in Canada.
Oh, wow.
In 1578, which is more than 40 years before the first Thanksgiving was said to have taken place in what would become the United States, which happened in 1621. So how about that?
Have you been chatting with somebody about this?
I have ChatGPT.
That's what I figured.
Okay, now there are some interesting differences, Carmela, between the 2 Thanksgivings. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
First, the Canadians celebrate their Thanksgiving, as I mentioned, on the 2nd Monday in October, while we celebrate it on the 4th Thursday of November.
Got it.
So like a month and a half separately. Mm-hmm. Now, the U.S. made Thanksgiving an official holiday in 1879, but our friends to the north did not make it a national holiday until 1957. So although they had the first one, it took them almost 100 years to get with the program.
Oh my goodness. Look at us.
Now, evidently, too, the Canadians are a little looser on what exact day over that Thanksgiving weekend the meal takes place. So like in the United States, it's always on Thursday. It's always on the Thursday of Thanksgiving. But while the Canadians, they take the 2nd Monday of October off, they may have that dinner on the Saturday or the Sunday or the Monday or maybe all 3. There you go.
Okay. But they have a day off on that Monday.
They do. Now, why do you think Canada celebrates their Thanksgiving earlier in the fall?
I don't know, but I would not want it to be on a Monday. That's the beginning of the week.
Okay.
I think we have it right having it on a Thursday. I'm sorry.
This is what she does all the time. I ask her her a question, she answers a different question.
Well, I was just thinking about that. I'm like, no wonder they celebrate it on like the Saturday or Sunday. They got to go to work not just one day after the holiday. They have to go 4 days.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up.
It's a really good point.
I mean, it's something you think about.
I think you're thinking about it. Okay. But why do you think they celebrate their Thanksgiving a month and a half earlier than we do?
Because maybe that's what they want to do. I don't know. They settled something at that time.
Well, actually, it has something to do with the weather because they're further north. So their harvest season happens a little earlier and their winter starts a little bit earlier. So they do theirs a little bit earlier.
I should probably have known that.
Yeah, it's okay. Now, the real question that you asked, Carmela, though, is what do they eat?
Yeah, that's what I'm actually most interested in.
Right. Is it the same as what we eat here in the United States, right?
Right. And that could cause me to move. Like if they have a better Thanksgiving dinner than
by the way, I am a Thanksgiving. By the way, I am a Canadian citizen. I am a turkey.
And you're an American citizen.
That's right. Don't tell anybody, though. Okay. So now, in terms of the foods that Canadians eat, there is an important difference that has some bearing on the wine choice, which is, of course,
ham.
Oh my gosh. You just.
Oh, sorry.
You're right, though.
Oh my God.
You're right. But
that
hold
was a
on.
Wild guess.
But that is really the whole point of this podcast because we're the Wine Pair podcast and we talk about wine and food. Okay. So, but yes, we have in the United States, we know the traditional meal, turkey, stuffing, dress, all that kind of stuff. It is more common in the Great White North to eat ham.
You can't stuff a ham.
No, you can't. Or corned beef.
And you can't say we're having bird tonight. Okay.
Or potato pie.
Ah.
I know. What's a potato pie?
Like a shepherd's pie?
I don't know what the hell it is. I read it in an article that you can find in our show notes. It's called potato pie. I don't know what the hell it is.
Ooh,
if people know what it is.
Did they give you a recipe?
No, they just said potato pie. So if somebody knows what it is, give us a call. No, reach out to us and tell us what's going on, joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. Okay. So now while you can get away with some similar wine choices for those different foods for sure, the wine that we're going to focus on for this episode is, as you mentioned, very turkey dinner, American Thanksgiving food friendly. And that's the kind of wine. And so if you've forgotten by this time, because Carmela's taken us down so many different tracks, since hearing the intro, we're talking about Beaujolais, which if you didn't know is made from the grape Gamay. And so for this Thanksgiving episode, we're going bonkers for Beaujolais.
Woo!
Because this year, we think you'd be crazy not to serve it.
Oh my God. You should see him. He's like pointing at me like, if I don't serve it, I'm like...
Okay, so we have 3...
Ring that turkey neck.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to... Okay, anyway, we have 3 Beaujolais wines that we're going to taste and review, and we'll let you know what we think of, and if any of these specific Beaujolais wines should be on your Thanksgiving table. But first...
You got to do our shameless plug.
That's right. So as always, we want to thank you for listening and for supporting us. And if you haven't had the chance to do it yet, now would be a real good time to subscribe to our podcast. And we would be very thankful. We would thank you on Thanksgiving.
With much gratitude.
That's right.
We would be so thankful.
Yeah. And in Thanksgiving, we want to thank all of you who have subscribed already.
With much appreciation.
That's right. And another great way to support us is to leave a nice rating review on our website or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you can do that. We would be thankful for that too.
Okay.
And you can also follow us and see pictures of the wines that we're tasting and trying today on Instagram at The Wine Pair Podcast. And you can contact us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. And if you go there, you can sign up for our amazing best-in-class newsletter. And if you didn't get the last newsletter, you can email me at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com.
You're missing out. You're really missing out.
And I'll send it to you. And there may be a Thanksgiving-related recipe
like
in the latest
potato pie.
No, it's actually turkey pot pie.
Oh my God.
So there you my famous recipe.
Okay, look, it is. It is way worth, even if you want to subscribe for just this month and then pull back on it.
No, you can't unsubscribe. Anyway, as we do every week.
It's a great recipe.
It is. We'll tell you someone we think you should tell about the Wine Pair Podcast. And this week, we want you to tell anyone who is either responsible for bringing the wine or is just wondering what wine to bring or serve for Thanksgiving dinner. And we want you, when you run into this person, and we hope you don't run them over in your car, we want you to tell them about our podcast. And better yet, just send them this episode so they'll know what to bring because we're bonkers for Beaujolais.
Or not to bring.
True that.
Right?
Right, sister. Okay, so speaking of sisters, I don't know. Let's talk about why Beaujolais is the perfect Thanksgiving wine, shall we, Carmela?
Yeah, I'd love to hear why.
Okay, and then we'll also spend a minute or two on how to serve it, the right way to serve it.
Oh my God, there's a right way to serve this wine?
There is. So as a reminder, Beaujolais is made from the Gamay grape and to be called red Beaujolais. And yes, there is such a thing as white Beaujolais, which is made, I knew you were going to ask the question, so I looked it up. It's made from Chardonnay, but it has to come from the Beaujolais area of France, which is near the city of Lyon and is the central east part of France. It's like south of Burgundy and north of Rhone. And of course, you can find Gamay in other places. We make Gamay here.
No way, Gamay.
Yeah, we make some here in Washington State. You can find it in Oregon and California, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and even other parts of France. In fact, last week in our Thai food episode, we had a Gamay. It was from France, but it was not from Beaujolais, so it was just called Gamay. So there you go.
I get it.
Now, let's talk about the Thanksgiving meal again in the United States, which is dominated by a few things. Turkey.
Yep.
Stuffing or dressing, whatever you want to call it. What do you call it?
Stuffing.
Me too. Mashed potatoes and gravy. Okay. Now, beyond that, there are several.
Pumpkin pie? Okay.
Yeah. Beyond that, there are several foods that show up. Some are regional, some are traditional. But some families serve mac and cheese. Some add like a cranberries as a garnish. Some serve some sort of buttery bread or dinner rolls or croissants or crescent rolls or whatever you want to call them. Sometimes there is another protein, like you said, like ham. And there's also side dishes like green beans or
like tomato peas. I'm sure everybody has tomato peas.
That was something in my family was terrible. Or those broccoli salads with lots of like mayo and bacon and cheese.
Amazing
they're so
broccoli
good.
salad. Oh.
Yeah, and then
even minestrone soup.
No, that's your family that does that weird thing. Hey. And then of course there are some side dishes with sweetness, like some people make sweet potato casseroles with the marshmallows and stuff, or just sweet potatoes. Yeah,
roasted sweet potatoes.
And there's pies and all that kind of fun stuff too. So what that means is that generally Thanksgiving is a meal with a light and salty white meat, a lot of side dishes, a lot of side dishes. Okay, a lot of side dishes.
A lot of dishes to ditch.
Yeah, that are starchy and buttery and sometimes sweet. And then all of that complemented by a rich gravy. So that's a tough thing to match. Like, that's a lot of flavors and...
Right, a lot going on.
A lot going on. So finding a wine that goes with all of them, that ain't easy.
Right, and are you just going to have one bottle, one type of wine?
Well, it's a good question, Carmela. Today we're going to talk about the bottle that we think will work with everything. But I think you can definitely have different types of wines.
Right. But that's good.
Now, some that are great, like you mentioned, is a great brut sparkling wine. Love that. You can have a sweeter sparkling, crisp white wines like a Riesling or a Gewürztraminer or a Sauvignon Blanc or a Soave. Those are great. Other light reds like a Pinot Noir or Cabernet Franc. Those are great. And even rosés, like a rosé from Provence, which is kind of Grenache heavy, or a rosé made from Pinot Noir. Those are all great choices. You're not going to go wrong with them. And you're right. You may want to serve different ones at different times of the meal, but we're going to talk about why we're bonkers for Beaujolais. I just like saying that. It's stupid by now, but I like it. So why do you think it's the right one? I'm not actually asking you that question. She just gave a look like, please don't ask me that question.
Again, no script. Yeah. No script. I should know. I should just know.
You should. But here's one.
Just being put on the spot, makes me all...
I know. It gets you sweaty. You get sweaty. Yeah. You're like, I can see the sweat beating on your brow.
I'm such a sweaty gal. I'm
a sweaty guy.
Wow.
You're not a sweaty guy. That would be... No, it'd be fine. It would be totally fine if you were a sweaty guy.
It's not really what you would...
It's not what I intended to marry, but it would be fine.
You'd still
I wouldn't... No issues. Okay. So the first reason is because the turkey and then other sweet elements on the Thanksgiving table are hard to pair, but Beaujolais works great with them because it's a light red wine and it will complement all those different flavors and it won't overpower them. It's low in tannin. That's good for food. It has a light body. That's good for the types of foods that are being served. And it has relatively low alcohol. So again, it's not going to kind of overpower those foods. And it's high in acid. And we talk about this a lot, but high acid wines are really good for food. And Beaujolais actually can go with a lot of different foods, not just Thanksgiving. It can actually go with spicy foods and it can go with grilled foods. So it's a very versatile wine. And the second reason why Beaujolais is great for Thanksgiving is because it's super easy drinking. Now, if you're a big Cabernet, like big fat Cabernet, like wine lover, not that you're fat. I'm just saying you like a
fat Cabernet.
No, if you like a big, bold Cabernet, you may not love a Beaujolais. Okay. Okay. So
let's just put it out there.
Let's just put it out. Let's get it real talk, turkey talk.
You can hit stop if
let's
you're
talk
like,
No, you can't. No, you can't hit stop. No,
because we might
you
change
have to
your
keep
minds.
listening. That's
we might
right.
change your minds.
And you need to think about somebody else other than yourself.
Right. This is about being thankful and grateful.
Yeah, just relax, okay? If you like a big, red, bold wine, just relax. It's Thanksgiving, for God's sake. Just relax.
All of a sudden,
okay?
pause. They just can
No,
stop.
You're back. Okay, so Beaujolais is a wine that's really hard not to like, I'll just say. It's a great wine for people who don't drink a lot of wine. It's a great wine for people who really prefer like whites or rosés. And it's good for those who do love wine too, because it's just a crowd pleaser. It's easy drinking. It's fun. And even people like us who are wine nerds and drink a lot of wine experts too, they think Beaujolais, great Turkey Day wine. So there you go.
Great.
Now, it's not just that simple though, Carmela. We couldn't make it just that simple. And I'll tell you why.
Always complicating.
I know, because the type of Beaujolais you choose matters. And there's actually 3 most common types. There's Beaujolais Nouveau, there's Beaujolais, just plain Beaujolais, and Beaujolais Villages. It looks like villages. Well, it is villages, but in French, it's villages.
Wow.
Okay, so anyway.
Amazing.
The thing that happens at this time of year, literally Beaujolais Nouveau comes out like the 3rd week of November.
Wow.
And so you're going to see a lot of that around. It means
Great timing.
new, right? And it's meant to be drunk right away, and it's the lightest and fruitiest of the Beaujolais, and it's also the one we think you should stay away from. It's not the best version of Beaujolais.
Oh boy, Beaujolais.
Yeah, it might be one of those where you go, what did I just drink? And if you're going to drink it, make it super cold. Like drink that shit super cold so you don't have to taste it. It's really, I would just say, stay away from it. And what you want to look for are the wines that say Beaujolais or Beaujolais, even better, Beaujolais Villages on the label. They're a little bit higher end, but they're still not expensive. You can find them easily at $20 or less. And that's a nice thing about Beaujolais is that you can find it relatively cheap. It's relatively easy to find, and you don't have to age it. Like you can just pull it off the shelf. You can pull it off the shelf and drink it. So that's a really nice thing.
Okay.
And then the last great thing about Beaujolais that we want to just mention, and I think an important thing about it, is that it actually should be served a little chilled. So not fridge cold, not like you've had it in the fridge all day. Although if you get the Beaujolais Nouveau, you might as well just leave it in the fridge and just have it ice cold and put ice cubes in it.
Ooh.
But if you get the other Beaujolais, just put it, if you have a cellar and you pull it out of the cellar or a wine fridge, just you can serve it at that temperature, like 58, 60, whatever degrees that a wine fridge or cellar is supposed to be set at.
Okay.
But if not, which is totally fine, and you just got it out of the store, just put it in the fridge for like 30 minutes or 60 minutes, and that's enough just to cool it down a little bit, and you'll get the fruit flavors will pop, the acidity will shine, it'll be really nice with the food, and it will go with all these.
You're selling this, honey. Good job.
That's why we're bonkers for Beaujolais.
Wow.
Okay.
Have we had any of these?
I don't think we have.
Okay.
But we've had Beaujolais. And we've had the Beaujolais Nouveau, and I don't think we've liked it all that much.
Okay.
And so that's why we're saying stay away.
Say no to it. Just say no.
Say no. Just say no.
Okay.
Okay. So on that note, let's talk about the Beaujolais wines. It's a great segue, Carmela, that we chose for this episode.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so as usual, all the wines we've chosen for this episode are under $20. Because you know what? That's what we do here on the Wine Pair Podcast.
Right.
Right,
Don't
Carmela?
mess with us.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Except for when you're like, oh, but tonight we're going to have to spend a little bit more.
Sometimes I do that. But not
often.
Not often, and I'll do it every once in a while because we're just going to have to. Okay, but all of them also should be relatively easy to find because I bought them all at a local grocery store, a big chain local grocery store, but a local grocery store, and one at Total Wine. And especially though at this time of year, Beaujolais or Gamay should be easy for you to find. And there's some really popular, easy to find producers. Louis Jadot is one that's very famous, and George Deboeuf, which means George the Beef,
guy,
I think.
The big guy.
Yeah, and again, avoid the Beaujolais Nouveau. It's going to be all over the place. They're going to be selling it like crazy. They're going to have big stacks of it in your grocery store. Just don't get the Beaujolais Nouveau.
Don't be tempted.
Don't be tempted.
Don't say, oh, I like that label or something.
Buy it for the kids. No, don't do that.
Great idea.
No, don't do that.
Holy cow.
So, Again, and then we did pop these wines. I popped them in the face. No, I popped them in the fridge at the beginning of when we started recording, so they're going to be nice and just a little bit chilled.
Okay.
And that should really bring out the flavors.
Perfect.
So the first wine we're going to taste is called Jean-Claude de Beaune Domaine Pignard Beaujolais. And it comes from Total Wine. And it's one of their stupid winery direct wines. And so I just say that because those of you who have been listening lately know that I've been getting a little bit down on Total Wine. But in this case, I do have to admit it was handy. It was handy to go there.
But you only got one. You only got one.
Can I just tell you why?
Yeah.
Can I tell you why?
I'd like to know.
Because I was at our local QFC, which is a Kroger grocery store.
Right.
And they had plenty of Beaujolais. But there were several Beaujolais that were a little more expensive than I wanted for our podcast. And
so you went across the street.
No, I didn't because I went to the one in the U Village.
Oh.
So that one. Because they have a better wine selection.
Okay.
But I almost picked a French Gamay, and then I said to myself, no, we want to be bonkers for Beaujolais, so I'm getting a Beaujolais. And
so
I
you
knew
went all the way up north.
Yes, it was an adventure. It took me many minutes to get there.
I think I remember this
Thank you.
day.
Thank you. Thank you for
good
remembering
job.
me.
What effort. That's great effort, honey.
Thank you.
Commitment.
It's
I
all
love it.
It's all for our listeners. That's why I do it.
That's great commitment, honey.
You're
I'm
welcome,
impressed.
people. So I knew they would have a Beaujolais, and I went there and they did, and got a decent price. So there you go. But of
You're
course,
welcome,
thank
America.
you. You're welcome.
And Canada.
That's right.
And the rest of the world.
That doesn't do Thanksgiving.
Right.
We're thankful for you. But because it's a winery direct wine, I couldn't find out jack shit about this wine. And so we're going to move on.
Okay.
The next wine we're going to drink is called Joseph Drouhin Beaujolais Villages. So this is one of those fancier ones.
Wow.
And one of our top wine shops here in Seattle called Esquin or Mad Wine, they call this wine the perfect turkey wine. So there you go. Okay.
Oh my goodness. So they are absolutely advertising it as a turkey wine.
Totally. Okay. And so this winery says they get their grapes from a number of different vineyards, and they say they harvest by hand, and they use a semi-carbonic maceration method for the first 6 to 10 days. And we talked about this in our last episode, but basically carbonic maceration is a process in which they put the whole grape clusters into a chamber that doesn't have any oxygen in it. And the grapes start to ferment kind of naturally from the inside out, and then they burst. And this is really supposed to bring out the fruit flavors of the wine and tamp down the tannins.
And don't get in its way, because you'll be really a
red.
mess.
You'll be a red. Yes, that's right. And then after that, they introduce yeast and they finish the fermentation. And this winery says that they age their wine in stainless steel for 6 to 8 months. So this should be a really good wine for Thanksgiving. And I'm expecting a very fruity and fresh wine, which is what you should expect from a good Beaujolais. And on a side note, I will say that Drouhin is a well-known Burgundy winemaker, and they have a winery in Oregon, which is called Domaine Drouhin.
Okay.
So there you go. And then the last wine that we're going to taste and review is called Domaine, and I don't really know how to say this word, so I'm going to try it. Du Peuple, Père et Fils Beaujolais. And it means father and sons. And this is a winery that's been around for a while, or father and children. It's a winery that's been around for a while, and it's well known for their Beaujolais, and they use organic farming practices. And when we say they've been making wine for a while, the estate has been making wine since the 1500s. That's a long time.
That is.
Okay. And then they say that they don't use sulfur dioxide and that they hand harvest. So let's talk for a second about sulfur dioxide, because you may wonder, why the hell would you put sulfur dioxide in your grapes and your wine?
Right.
Why? Well, here's why. To control oxidation, and so it doesn't get too much oxygen in it, and protect against bacteria and mold. But the use of sulfur, exactly. The use of sulfur dioxide is controversial. And when people talk about things like low intervention wines, they're talking about not doing stuff like this, or more natural wines. Like, don't put this stuff in it.
The majority of wines, so if you're not a natural wine, you are probably doing that practice.
If you're not, yeah. I mean, I would say natural wines are not going to do it. Or if they do, maybe they do it very little or something. But no, I mean, a mass-produced wine is probably putting sulfur in.
Well, because people don't always agree with sulfites.
That's right.
In their bodies.
That's right. And so if you want to avoid sulfur or other kinds of additives in your wine, this may be
natural.
Yeah, this may be a great choice. And then the winery also says that they don't filter their wines, and they use only natural yeasts. And the reviews for this wine say that it drinks like a cru Beaujolais. So there is a higher level of Beaujolais called cru, which is like the top level in France. And so if this is a good wine, natural, no sulfur, all that kind of stuff, and it's like a cru Beaujolais, it's going to be an awesome deal. So
Okay.
I think this would be super fun. We have 3 different Beaujolais to try, and hopefully we're going to find one that's really good for your Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow, love it.
So on that note, we're going to take a little break, and if you got a Beaujolais, open it up and drink along with us, and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and we are ready to try our first wine. And this is the Jean-Claude de Beaune Domaine Pignard Beaujolais. This is from Beaujolais, France, which they're all going to be. I should say France. This is a 2021. It was $18.99 at Total Wine. Okay. And 12.5% alcohol. It's made from 100% Gamay. And wine enthusiasts gave this wine an 84, which is actually not a rating that you see very often, but technically an 84 is a good wine. According to their rating scale. Nice. And we'll be the judge of that. So, what are you smelling?
I'm getting like some cherry candy.
Totally like sweet cherries.
It's really nice.
It's really nice. Almost like a maraschino cherry or...
red, more of a red
cherry. Almost like cherry and chocolate. I'm getting a little of that cherry cordial with chocolate. Like almost a little chocolate
like
in it.
I'm kind of getting like the... with the cherry inside with that little syrup that comes in it. It's like a cherry syrup. Or, do you remember at IHOP, they'd have at the International House of Pancakes.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you spelled it out because I wasn't sure.
Really?
IHOP, what are you talking about?
Okay, they have all the syrups lined up.
Oh, yeah.
They had
But they didn't have a cherry, did they?
I think they
I thought they had like a strawberry. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe it's kind of strawberry to me too. A little bit of strawberry. I don't know.
And when I let it settle, actually, this is the opposite of what usually happens. Usually when we swirl it, we get the more earthy. Actually, when I let it sit, I'm getting a little bit of, sometimes they say like clay pot or earthiness, like a little clay. I'm getting a little smell of that.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, when you swirl it, you're getting a little bit more of that sweetness on it, the sweet edge, I think.
Yeah, maybe just a skosh of smoke. A skosh, but it's very fruity.
Much more fruity.
Should we try it?
Almost like a little bit of a fruit juice.
Juicy. Too. It does smell very juicy. Not jammy as much as juicy.
Right.
Okay, let's try it.
Ooh.
It's nice.
It's fruity. It's juicy.
Very fruity. Do you think it's jammy?
No, juicy.
It's not. It's not
like, as thick or like.
That's what I was going to say. It doesn't have that thickness. It's actually pretty thin. It's really nice. It's not, again, if you want a big fat, if you like a big
oaky Cabernet, this is not
the wine
obviously, for you because it's not on oak at all, right?
No.
Yeah.
And it's super fruity. It's super fresh tasting. It tastes very fresh. It tastes like it's a little chilled. It's nice, right? Like it's really a little chilled.
Nice. This is really nice. This is like, I don't know who.
Dangerous wine.
Yeah. Who wouldn't like this?
And it's not overly fruity though. Like I don't find it like cloying sweet or anything like that. It's actually got a little bit of like on the end, a little bit of minerality. It's got a little bit of dryness and maybe a little like stone or something on the end of it.
For sure.
To kind of clean it off your tongue.
Ooh, it's very nice.
Anything else that you're tasting in this?
Gosh, I don't know. I think we kind of hit all the marks.
So let's talk about this food. Let's talk about this wine with Thanksgiving. What is wrong with me? I can't even talk.
We're going to do bloopers tonight on
Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow.
How do you think this would pair?
What would you eat with this?
Well,
is that what you're trying to ask?
No, I'm just saying, like, how do you think this would pair with Thanksgiving dinner?
I think it would be really nice. I think it would complement it really well. And the nice thing is that I think you have to have a good wine because Thanksgiving is not everybody's favorite meal, but then again,
I think it's just not your family's favorite.
But then
I love Thanksgiving.
What I was going to say,
it is maybe my favorite meal of the year.
Oh my God!
Absolutely
what is wrong
love it.
with you?
Oh my God, I love it.
Okay, which you didn't let me finish, but what I was going to say is that some people don't love it, and then there are some people who absolutely wait all year for it.
I love it.
So I think you have to have a good balance with your wine too.
Like whoa,
yeah, you got to be on that balance beam. So, and I think this would be good with a lot of variety.
Totally,
like all those dishes that you
turkey and gravy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Stuffing.
Yes.
Mashed potatoes.
Yep. And even sweet potatoes. Like
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes. With
What about like that broccoli salad thing?
Oh, for sure.
Mac and cheese.
Yep.
Minestrone soup.
Yes.
I think actually could do okay.
I think it
Ham. I think this would go fine. This would be really good with salty foods. I think this would be good with, sometimes turkey's kind of salty if you brine it, or if you have a ham, it's very salty.
I actually think this could even be a little colder. I mean, it's right now. I mean, it's not room temperature yet.
No,
but I think you could even have it a little more chilled.
I think you could.
Now I'm looking at the label because Thanksgiving
looks like Pignataro.
I know, Pignard. Anyway,
Pignard.
Okay, Pignard. No, because Thanksgiving is a big deal. There's a big deal around the tablescape. Okay.
You mean like the way the table looks?
Yes, like people spend
tablescape.
That's what they call it, the tablescape.
Do you tablescape?
Yeah, but I'm not like I like to tablescape.
Is that like manscaping but for a table?
Exactly.
Okay.
Landscaping, manscaping, tablescaping. Yeah, it's all within the same family.
It's not table stakes, it's tablescape.
Scape. Like
that'll get you confused.
Escape. Okay, that
table
doesn't make
stakes,
any... But I'm looking at this like...
Say it 3 times fast. Table stakes, tablescape.
Okay, now you're acting like me. You're going off on some random tangent.
Okay, go for it now.
No, but I'm not laughing. I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, is this bottle suitable for a Thanksgiving tablescape? And I think it is.
It's kind of fancy.
It's kind of fancy.
Nice.
Well, I mean, it's also a little more formal.
It's got a little chateau
depending on how
something.
you spend your Thanksgiving.
Wait till you see the next ones.
Okay.
I think they're even more Thanksgiving-ish.
I do think some people do look at bottles for this. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I think the next ones are more.
Okay, back to the wine.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we're gonna rate this wine, and as a reminder, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10. We don't do 1 to 100. Okay, we do 1 to 10, and there's no halvesies. And here's what it means: when we do a 7 or above, that means buy that wine, and we say 4 or below, we mean don't buy that wine. And if it's 5 or 6, it's like up to you. You want to buy it, fine.
Right.
But
Give it a go
if we were gonna,
want.
we're gonna drink it, but we're not gonna buy it. But it's not killing us. It's okay. So, what would you give the Jean-Claude de Benjamin Pignard Beaujolais?
I'm getting it an 8.
I am too.
Okay.
I think it's quite good.
I do too.
And I am really shocked because it's a stupid total wine, and
They're making a comeback.
it's quite good. I think it's,
I
as
think
my
it's
mom would say, it's quite
quite good.
good.
It's
yeah.
quite-
Let's take a break and we'll try our next wine.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our next Beaujolais. This is the Joseph Drouin Beaujolais Villages. It's from Beaujolais, France, Carmela, as they should be. This is also a 2021. All of our wines tonight are 2021. And remember, Beaujolais, you can just pull it off the shelf and you're fine. It was $15.99 at QFC, 12.5% alcohol. And I think all of these wines are also 12.5% alcohol, and all of them are 100% Gamay. But what are you smelling?
Okay, so this one has a little like more of a sour in your face smell.
It's very earthy. It's kind of mushroomy.
I think it's kind of sour. Not like in a not in an off way.
A little bit.
And kind of a, but I'm feeling like this is a little less smooth smelling, if that's a thing.
It's not fruity like the last one.
No.
It's not popping into your nose with the fruit smell. It's really kind of, for a Beaujolais, it actually has some complexity on the nose. Like I'm saying, these like earthy clay forest floor. I don't know what a forest floor actually smells like. I've never actually smelled a forest floor. But like you're out in the woods and it kind of, you get that dirt and leaves, and that's kind of what it smells like, being outside in a forest.
I will go back to though what I think when you're not swirling this, it calms down.
Yeah, when you swirl
down, and it's like I think that first sniff you give of it is a little more pungent.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not smelling a ton of fruit on it. I gotta say that I'm not really smelling a ton of fruit.
No,
like the last one was so cherry smelling.
Yeah, right away. This one is kind of a sour cherry, some sort of raspberry.
You're really getting kind of more of a sour, aren't you?
I'm getting some sort of sour Patch Kids.
Okay.
No, just a sour smell.
Well, let's try it and see if that sourness comes through.
Oh, I would say
it does. It very much comes through. And
I would say
actually that
a little citrusy, like a blood orange.
Okay, I like that. I think it does have citrus on it. It's very acidic. It's really not that full juicy kind of. It's not juicy. It's not really a juicy flavor.
Not really. No, not really like a red fruit juicy flavor.
To me, this is a much more like, the first one is fun.
What was that?
The first one is kind of like fun, frivolous, like, woohoo, drink me. Drink me up, you dirty man. This one is
dirty turkey.
You dirty turkey.
You dirty bird.
This one to me is a little bit more my style of wine. It's a little bit more like,
really? Okay.
It's more like, hey jerk, contemplate me.
Ooh, like a
Which
little
is kind of like you. Yeah, a little aloof, like you.
Aloof.
Oh my God. Anyway.
Do you think people think of, okay, I'm going
No,
on
they
a
don't
tangent.
think of you as aloof. No. But I know you're aloof.
I am not aloof.
Anyway.
Okay,
I just think it's a little more austere. It's very European style.
Okay.
It's not super fruit forward. I really like it.
You like it.
I really like it, but I will say this. As a Beaujolais, it tastes more to me like a French Pinot Noir than it does a Beaujolais. Like a Beaujolais, I do expect that really like burst of fruit flavor, that like cherry.
Oh yeah, this is like a lot going on.
A lot.
It is acidic and
it's acidic, it's tart.
It's tart. Yeah. It feels young. But I know that you can drink it right off the shelf. Yeah. So this is what they're going for.
Yeah. And this is one where you might not have to have this one quite as cold either.
No, I think so. Actually, I feel like
it might be better
not as cold because I think the coldness, I can't talk, the cold temperature could actually make that flavor more intense.
Yeah. I almost wonder, I think you're right. I almost wonder if this is oaked a little.
I don't know.
I don't know that they said they did, but it almost seems that way. But
this does look like, looking at the label, I'm going to,
It's kind of a pretty label.
Yeah, and it's definitely kind of a fall formal dinner.
It's formal. That's what I was going to say. The first one is a nice looking bottle, but this one and the next one are very formal looking.
And we have corks. We're all corked.
They're all corked. Not corked. No, they have corks in them.
Corks in them, and and that feels very Thanksgiving like. Not that Thanksgiving needs to be formal at all, but I feel like a lot of times you have a sit down dinner for as many people as you can fit around your GD table.
A GD table.
At least at our house, it's like
don't
okay,
say GD.
25th, 26th, 27 person sitting down.
Yeah, we have like 3 tables.
Pushed together because everybody needs
with
a
plywood
seat.
over the top.
True,
but nicely table-scaped.
It is so table.
It's very manscaped. Okay,
no,
Carmela, what do you think? Why do you think about this and Thanksgiving dinner?
I think it would be nice. What would you be the perfect pairing for you?
To me, this feels like more of the Thanksgiving dinner maybe that your family would serve if they didn't have like Thanksgiving dinner. Minestrone soup, great. Like lasagna, Italian food, great. Like this would be a great
more
wine.
Garlic, heavy, like red sauces.
Yeah, like more of a traditional like Italian dinner. But I think this would be good with. I think this would be
How
actually
about a Canadian ham?
Totally. This would be a fantastic wine with Thanksgiving dinner. I really am enjoying it. This is, again, very much my style of wine. I don't think this is an American palate wine. It's not big. It's not bold. It's not juicy. It's not jammy. It's super austere. This is a very European style wine for me.
Okay.
So,
and here we're talking about an American holiday.
And remember, actually, Drouin is famous for their Pinot Noirs. That's really what they're known for. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is kind of a little bit more of a Pinot Noir style, but without that cherry. Like a lot of times a Pinot Noir will have that nice cherry. Yeah. So what do you think about it with food?
I think it would be nice. No, I think that actually would be better with food. I think I would enjoy it more. The other one I could just drink alone. No.
Well, and that's a sign for me also of the way I like to enjoy wine is with a food. Like I want it to be combined with the food.
It's a good pairing for
you. I think this would do well. It's a really pretty wine. Both the wines have been very pretty.
Yes, color-wise.
But this one is a little more like subdued. Like it doesn't have the same. I thought the last one was kind of a lively color as well. Mm-hmm. This one's very like
under the radar.
But it's beautiful. Like it's a really beautiful looking wine, I think. In the glass, like really pretty.
It is pretty. Okay.
So what rating would you give this wine?
I'm going to give this, I think I'll give it a 7. I'm not as.
So you're going to still be you're still a 7 or above on it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Is it just because I'm convincing you? No, you would say. If you didn't like it, you would be like...
I think I would say.
Yeah. You would.
It's definitely like when I'm thinking, what I try and keep in mind for myself, if you would all think about me when you choose wine. And I do. But not you. I'm saying people in general that listen in. This is a wine that I would buy and drink, and for me, and it's a red wine. And I don't, they don't typically go to a red wine. Yeah, because you're not a big red, not a big punch you in the face red wine. So this isn't what I could drink and probably buy and enjoy. So I'm giving it a 7.
Okay. I'm giving it a 9.
Whoa.
I really, really like this wine. Now, here's what I'd say is for a straight,
that was like fireworks.
Yeah, but for a straight Beaujolais, again, I probably wouldn't be my first choice for a Beaujolais, but I would definitely buy this to drink.
Okay.
Like this is a nice wine, and it was $15.99. I think it's a great deal. Like to me, this is a killer wine.
Okay.
And when we talk about a high QPR, like this is a very good wine.
Okay.
Maybe I'm overrating it because in comparison, whatever, but I just
Maybe you just like
really
it because it says Joseph on the label.
Maybe that's it.
I mean, it has Joseph right on the top of the label.
That might be it. Well, on that note, Joseph, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with our last wine. Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our last wine. And this is the one I'm having trouble pronouncing. It's the Domaine du Plebet Père et Fils Beaujolais. It's from Beaujolais, France. Hey, who knew?
Oh my!
Also a 2021. This was a little over $20. It was $20.99. Okay, I got it at QFC. But see, the other ones were even more expensive than this. So I thought this was close enough.
Oh wow!
So I lied. They're not all under $20. I did. I lied. One is $20.99. Okay. Got it at QFC. 12% alcohol, 100% Gamay. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. Actually, the bottle. Let's talk about the bottle super quick.
Oh, it's really pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's very simple in terms of...
But kind of formal.
But exactly. It's a fancy writing. It's a nice thick-bottomed bottle.
Thick bottom.
It's a
Pinot bottle.
It's very pretty.
It's a Pinot Noir bottle.
Bottle, yeah. But this would be nice, and it would be simple, and it wouldn't clash with your tablescape.
Yes, you're right. Okay, so let's talk about what we smell. Don't swirl it. What do you smell?
Okay, I'm getting some cherry, but when I first swirled it, I was getting smoke.
Okay, this to me, cherry, spicy cherry. It's like spiced cherry. I don't know what's like a cinnamon spiced cherry.
Oh, like
or
a
something.
winter like cherry punch.
It's got some spices on it, but like maybe baking spices, but hot, like a cinnamon hot.
Okay, I get it, like a cinnamon bear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And when you swirl it, you get some of that earthiness, some of that like clay. I'm getting that clay.
I was getting smoke, but now that I've left it alone,
a little tiny bit of smoke.
I'm not getting it as much. Yeah.
Do you get that spiciness though? It's really nice.
I am. Yeah. It feels very holiday to me too.
Totally.
Yeah.
There is almost a cinnamony kind of smell to it, like a cinnamon candy kind of smell.
Like a red cinnamon bear or a hot tamale.
Or those round cinnamon candies, the red.
Oh, right. Little ones.
Peppermint.
Oh, peppermint? That's different
almost like,
than cinnamon, honey.
But you're right. It is different. Okay, so it's the red ones that have a little bit of pink in them because they're cinnamon.
You know what's so funny?
You were with me until I said that.
Yeah, and then
cinnamon Altoid.
Ew, no. I don't like a cinnamon Altoid.
Oh God, those are good.
Only wintergreen.
Okay, well let's try it and see.
This is interesting. I was going more with that cinnamon bear, like a hot tamale.
It's totally cinnamony.
Cinnamon or peppermint though?
It's cinnamon.
I think it's
definitely cinnamon.
Like what's the gum? Big Red.
Yes.
A little Big Red.
It is like a Big Red gum.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And it almost is like, if you have too much Big Red. Only
and
our oldest and I would know.
Your jaw starts to hurt?
No. Your tongue starts to get raw.
And you start to drool so much.
No, only our oldest and I would understand that because we would eat like 2 or 3 pieces at a time because we loved it so much.
Yes, you would have like 3 slices of gum.
My tongue hurts. That's weird. I don't know. I'm an adult. That shouldn't happen. I'm an adult.
Okay, so this wine, I can totally taste that cinnamon. It's got some of that cherry. It's got some of that like smoke. It does have a little smoke on it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a little charred flavor to it. It's very rich. Like it's not a thick wine, but it's a rich wine. It's got a lot going on.
You could do red meat with this wine.
Yeah, you could actually do any. I think this is a super versatile wine.
Yeah.
It is, again, not that really fruity. The first wine that we had, the Domaine Pinard, that is like, to me, classic Beaujolais, bright, fruity, cherry. These last two, the last one was very austere. This one is more rich. Like this has richness and depth, and this is like a fancy formal wine to me.
Right. This is a lot going on, a lot to talk about, a lot to taste, very complex.
And I think if you serve this, nobody would guess this is a Gamay. I think they would think it's some other type of wine.
But the cinnamon kind of throws you off a little bit, or that bit of that it's kind of that big red or cinnamon bear, kind of a candy, but it feels very winter.
And now that you talk about it, I'm getting a little bit of I am getting a little pepperminty menthol, a little bit of menthol in this, almost like evergreen too, like an evergreen, like a pine tree, almost like pine tree on it.
Yeah, I could.
Are you getting that?
Yeah.
Like sometimes the sap, like the sap on a pine tree, it almost smells cinnamony. It smells spicy.
Yeah, I can see it's funny. This is almost setting a scene in my brain. I can see a snow-capped pine tree. I don't know why this is so weird.
With red berries on it.
Exactly that. And this would be next to it.
This is a great wine.
Yeah. And it's very holiday.
Do you think that was what I was going to say. It's a very holiday wine. It looks like a holiday. The bottle, perfect for the tablescape. In the glass, it's the darkest of the three. Very pretty looking wine. It's just a nice wine. And I think with the food, do you think it would go with Thanksgiving dinner?
Yes, I do. I think you could do Christmas with this.
Too. It's a great Christmas wine.
I kind of feel I know it is a little bit more than what we typically spend too, but this is high Q what?
High QPR. Yeah. This is a high QPR wine.
Yeah, it's because it feels like it's more expensive. It feels more.
Well,
expensive.
What's funny? This is the one that they say it drinks. I think this is the one they said that it drinks like a Cru Beaujolais. I've never had a Cru Beaujolais, but it's drinking like a much more expensive wine.
Yes,
it's really nice.
This is an impressive tasting wine.
Yeah, this may be my highest rated wine ever that we've had on the show. This is a great wine.
Wow.
This is a great wine.
Yeah.
And I would serve it with, I think Christmas, I think it's a very holiday wine. It's a beautiful looking wine. If you just mentioned this before when we were off camera, off tape, you're like, Friendsgiving. What about Friendsgiving? Oh, if you brought this to Friendsgiving.
Bring it to your Friendsgiving event. Yeah.
I think if you pop this under your arm and you brought it to somebody, you're trying to impress the new in-laws. If you want to impress the new in-laws, bring this wine.
That's not Friendsgiving, honey.
Well, you're right. That's family's giving.
Yeah. But if you're going with your friends too, I brought it's a great hostess gift or host gift too.
But I think it's a great wine. And then you're right. Christmas dinner, you could have this with turkey or ham or even
roast beast.
Roast. Yeah.
Roast beast.
Yeah. Prime rib. I think this would stand up just fine to a prime rib.
Oh, for sure.
I think it would taste great. And it's got that kind of holiday flair to it.
Yeah.
Totally. So what rating are you going to give this wine?
Well, you know me, I am not a big red wine drinker. These ones have really wowed me tonight.
They are really good wines.
Yeah, this is a
three
great
really
selection.
Good wines.
Yeah. I think that for me, since these are not my go-to, I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm giving it a 10. I'm giving it a 10. I've never given it a 10 before. This is a great wine. It's a fantastic wine. And you know what? I really am bonkers for Beaujolais. It's just not what I expected.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's so rich and it's just an excellent wine.
It really is. Yeah. And I like that it says Kermit on the front.
There you go.
Kermit the Frog.
No, it's not Kermit the Frog.
Oh.
So which of these wines are you finishing?
I think we are having a very casual evening, and this is going to just be kind of that little bit of elegance alongside of our casual evening. So I think this is the one.
From DoorDash. Yeah. Well, let's talk about, I'm with you. I'm going to Domaine du Peuple or wherever you say.
I don't think we can put it back in the fridge.
No.
I think we need to enjoy.
And this one is good. It's a little chilled, and it's actually really nice. And I think it would do fine if it was room temperature.
Are you going to show off your fancy new wine fridge any day?
Maybe someday.
You should.
on Instagram
or something.
All right. Well, Carmela, let's talk about the taste profiles expected from a Beaujolais.
Okay.
Wine Folly says it generally would be pomegranate, blackberry, bramble, violet, potting soil, banana.
So banana.
Yeah, I didn't get banana in any of these. I don't think so.
I didn't.
Vine pear, not the wine pear, but the vine pear says red berry flavors, including raspberry, red cherry, red currant, and cranberries. Okay. And a Cru Beaujolais will sometimes be compared to an old world Pinot Noir with mushroom, forest floor, and smoky notes.
Nice job.
So Jean-Claude Debonne, Domaine Pignard Beaujolais, the winery says a fragrant and floral bouquet leads to flavors of red fruits and hints of spice. Raspberries and cherry shine through. Totally agree with that. And the wine enthusiast said juicy with bright red cherry flavors. Totally fresh acidity. Totally wine is ready to drink. They did say a touch of banana, but I didn't get a touch of banana in it.
That did not come through to me.
Not at all. Okay, Joseph Drouin Beaujolais Villages. The winery says a lovely raspberry color, brilliant hue. The nose is both refined and intense. Okay, notes of violet, peony, and red fruit syrup. Okay.
Oh.
As you drink it, it feels fresh.
Red fruit syrup. We talked about that.
Yeah, feels fresh and silky. A 305 wine says both the nose and mouth develop aromas reminiscent of black fruit such as blackberry, cherry, deliciously mingling with licorice and spices. Licorice is good. Licorice is a good one.
Black licorice?
I think so.
Okay.
And the Domaine du Peblis, the wine feed, says a generous, ripe style of Beaujolais with plenty of black cherry, blackberry, and blueberry character, pleasant, sappy tannins that provide crispness at the finish. Englewood Wine Merchants says blackberry, cassis, baking spice, crushed rock. It reminds us of a cru Beaujolais. And the Cheese Shop of Salem says ripe notes of cherries, pomegranate, and roses. Okay. I don't think I got as much rose on it. But anyway, I think these were great wines. I am bonkers for Beaujolais, but I'm bonkers for it now in a way that I never would have been before. And I will say again, at the beginning, we've been talking about like stay away from the Beaujolais Nouveau. I would say these are very, very, very different from a Beaujolais Nouveau. Yes. These are much more refined.
This was a great lineup, honey.
Great lineup. Great for any of these would be perfect for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of them.
No, there wasn't a bad one. It just depends. Like if you want, we said this now about 18 times. If you want more of a bright fruity one, get the Jean-Claude Debonne. And if you want something very fancy, then get this Domaine du Peblis. But I loved the Joseph Drouin too.
Yes.
I give it a 9. I loved that wine.
These are huge ratings, honey.
These are really big ratings. I usually don't give ratings this high.
No.
This is amazing.
Incredible.
Okay. So everybody, we thank you for listening. It is time for us to go. But before we do, we want to thank you for listening. And we would love for you to subscribe. We'd be really thankful if you would subscribe.
Right.
And if you give us a rating review, we'd really appreciate that. And we'd love to hear from you. Like if you've tried any of these wines and you're like, you guys are spot on. Or you guys are crazy.
Right,
let us know. We'd
that
love
would be funny, huh?
It would be. So we'd love to hear from you. You can leave a message for us on our website at thewinepairpodcast.com. And you can join our email newsletter there and get the turkey pot pie recipe. Or you can just email us at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. And, we will respond. We promise. We do. We respond every time.
We're waiting for you.
That's right. We are. We're just waiting. Tapping. Okay, and with that, we're going to sign off. And so thank you once again. We'll see you next time. Have a great Thanksgiving, although we'll probably have an episode between now and Thanksgiving. But anyway, have a great Thanksgiving. And as we say, life is short. So we'd thank you to stop drinking shitty wine. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And the happy ending at the end of our story. Always think too much. Always drink too much. Always pray too much. Always play too much. And when I'm with you too much, I fall in love too much. And when I'm away too much,